my first hat and my favorite hat. I feel like if you're not born Jamaican, like what you really do. Like,
Love it, love it, love it.
I love being Jamaican. So I was born in Montego Bay actually, and then I moved to Saint Elizabeth.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of Overcomaz. Today we have with us the lovely Tamika Coley, author and mental health advocate. So, Tamika, welcome. Would you mind going ahead and just giving us a brief introduction of who Tamika is?
Sure. Tamika is a very chill person. I'm a writer. That's what I do as my profession. I work in the marketing and advertising field. So I'm a development associate at a company by the name of Anchor Group. New job. Prior to that, I was directly in media with the Jamaica Observer. So I started this job here at Anchor Group. I also work as a creative consultant and freelancer.
Mhm.
You have heard I'm a mental health advocate and currently the director of communications for the Jamaica Mental Health Advocacy Network. Outside of that, I'm just a very chill, very low key, very artistic person, and I like to learn. That's one of my things I like to learn. So yeah.
All right, so Tamika wear a bunch of different hats, creative art all across the board, and just wear many hats. I love that. Would you mind just kind of like giving us an idea of how it was for you growing up in Jamaica?
Sure.
What was Tamika like growing up in Jamaica? Yeah.
I feel like this is my first hat and my favorite hat. I feel like if you're not born Jamaican, like what you really do. Like,
Love it, love it, love it.
I love being Jamaican. So I was born in Montego Bay actually, and then I moved to Saint Elizabeth as a little girl. Well, as a never really absent yet. So I moved to Silo in Saint Elizabeth. Not a lot of people know it, but it is very close to Appleton,
First time I hear that. First time I hear that too.
where you normally would go for the rum tours and stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
So I grew up in that community, and I think it's a great place to grow up. You know, it's very, very lush, very natural. If you've been to Portland before, this
I love Portland.
it's very green, very lush, beautiful, lots of birds. It's a really nice place to be a child. You get
Okay.
the values, the traditional Jamaican values are still very much there. Not so 2020, but during my time as a child, all the way up to teenage years, you know, you grow up and you understand what it is like to really have that structure, that foundation, that core of
Mhm.
just growing up with
Family and a community being a family, yeah.
respect for your elders, respect for nature, all of that. So that is what it was like for me growing up, and it has shaped me a lot. A lot of what I am now and who I am as a person and the things that I do come from the fact that I grew up in St. In that kind of culture as well. It was not boring for me at all. I used to spend my holidays in St. Catherine because my mom lived in St. Catherine at the time. My father
Okay.
lived in St.
Oh,
Catherine.
Lindsay side?
Hmm?
Lindsay side?
No,
Or Sound?
oh, my mother did live in Town and my father did live in Portmore. But
Okay.
mostly, I was with my mom. I didn't spend time with my father. I was with my mom. But they were both up this side. I grew up with my grandparents. So, and I have a big family, so our family pretty much rallied around me a lot. So it was just a great way to grow up. I have a lot of cousins as well.
Good
So
stuff.
I had company. You know, definitely.
Good stuff. All right, so also for the most part, you basically had a wholesome growing up, basically.
I would definitely say so. And I feel like if you grow up in country, like the kind of things where you learn and know, you just have an edge up. I think so. So
Well rounded. All
yeah.
right, cool. So what was it like for you after the our preteen into teenage years? Like, what was it like for you?
I went to boarding school, Hampton School for Girls in Malvern. That's also in St. Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
I did 5 years there. I lived on campus for the 5 years that I was there, which at first it was a really rough transitional experience because I came from a background of not really having sleepovers at people's houses and that kind of thing. And then bam,
Yeah, sleep over with a bunch of people.
it's like, what? It's kind
Yeah.
of an adjustment, but I really grew to enjoy it and I learned a lot there. That was to go to school, you get a very well-rounded educational background as well as a background because people all walks of life go there, and in terms of what they teach you as well. So it's just a really and a different environment. Like even the climate of the completely different from what I was used to. It's very gray a lot of the time, foggy, cold, very cold.
Cool. Exactly. Yeah.
Foreign. It was like going to school in a different country. So that was a part of an experience that really shaped me as well. Moved from there, 4th, 6th form, I went to Black River High School, which was a co-ed school. So
Also in St. Elizabeth, right?
also but not all the way up in the cool hills, isolated like Hampton. So that was another grounding experience for me as well. Transitioning out of being around girls all the time and then going into a co-ed environment. That I came to Kingston when I was just turning 18 to start UWI. And I've lived in Kingston ever since.
Okay, so did you come to Kingston for school or just you just taking on the world?
No man, I
moving to Kingston?
for school to start UWI.
Okay, Pelican. Okay. So what year did you start?
What year was
Me no saying that old.
look that old. How old am I now? I started in 2004.
Oh.
So I was 8.
Don't tell them my age, yeah? Please don't tell them my age.
I don't mind. I don't find it that big of a deal. I have no hang up telling people my age. People just don't believe me when I tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what were your UWI days like? Like what was the transition for you from boarding at Hampton to actually being at big school and being alone and being on your own?
To be honest, I thought that going to a boarding school before would be like great preparation for going to UWI. So there is
None can prepare for you, trust me.
that is what I learned. I definitely learned that. That was a massive culture shock. And I thought transitioning out of Hampton and then going to a co-ed school and then going to UWI, I would be like, yeah, man,
Well-rounded, yeah.
not have it. Did not have it at all. Let me tell you. Oh my God, my kids are fighting. You can hear them.
Yo, I'm hear them one.
Yeah, so the transition for me was difficult and it took some getting used to. It took a while to adjust because prior to that, I'm just a country girl, like I didn't spend my holidays in St. Catherine yet, but I've never lived outside of St. Vincent.
Okay.
Going to a boarding school that is so traditional and has very British ways of doing things. Completely different from
because you have people from all over the place. You have people who finally get them freedom.
On top of that, I wasn't used to having so much freedom. So what may I do? So that was a big adjustment. And it actually sent me into a state of depression for a while because I had a really rough time trying to adjust. Initially, they had lost my application. So I started 2 months after everybody else because they found it late. The major that I wanted to do, it was full by then. So I ended in literature because I had a lot of I mean, my grades were consistently good in literature over the years. So they were like, why you don't
Mhm.
and then just transfer over? So I was like, okay, fine. I mean, it has always been my favorite subject. Didn't really have a major challenge with that. So
Okay.
literature, and then I didn't want to transfer anymore because I like, so I decided to just keep doing that, and that's how I ended up doing a literature degree
Okay.
as opposed to a degree in psychology. But I love psychology. Mental health has always really spoken to me. It's something that I've
Mhm.
experienced with mental health challenges, so I ended up somehow in the field safely. But
Okay.
you know,
So like you kind of touched on you experiencing that a little bit. Would you mind delving into it just a tad bit more?
sure. So I wanted to take a year off after high school because I just
Mhm.
really burned out and I felt like I needed to just take a little break before I.
For yourself, yeah.
So my initial idea was probably spend a little time, relax, then get a job, and then kind of work, save up some money, then go to you. But I
Mhm.
thought that it was a terrible idea. They're like, you're not gonna want to go back.
You want to stop more like go on go again.
That was the idea, and they convinced me to actually go anyway. Because I was thinking, well, if it's 2 months behind and everything, like I don't want to actually have to catch it up and have it be like a major setback for me. But
Mhm.
as I said, they convinced me to continue to just push through, and I went and I did that. And when I got there, I realized that I really should have trusted myself because I was indeed very burnt out. Um,
Okay.
and then having that 2 month setback made it difficult on top of trying to just adjust to the new
So
environment.
just added pressure all over.
Yeah, just added pressure all over. And then I also realized that I was a little younger than a lot of the other people who were there. Because I started high school young. So
Okay.
then kind of continued. So I realized that I was not as mature as I thought I was. So it was just a big, big, big learning curve. Um, Luckily for me, for the first year, I didn't live on campus yet. I was living with my aunt.
Okay. Okay.
So I would travel from Portmore to UA in the morning, but it was difficult because there was no toll road at it. So I had to get up really early. I had to get up at like 5 to then get to school for my
And
first.
it's a full day, yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't reaching back home until about 7:30. So it was just a whole transition and very rough for me. So all of those things, just trying to get a handle on them, trying to manage them, all of that, it made the shift difficult for me. And I segued into a depressive state, which kind of lasted the whole time I was at UA. There were a few time offs
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that were pretty consistent throughout the time. So it was a
So
very
like how did you cope? Like or how did you manage, I should say, that you really cope? Because as you mentioned, it progressed for the entire time while at UA. So like how was that for you?
um how did I cope? I'm gonna answer that in the two ways that you asked. You said how did I cope and how did I manage? I
Mm-hmm.
tend to be pretty high functioning. So a lot of things can be popping up and I can push myself and do what I need to do anyway. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that is not healthy and it doesn't last forever. There is going to be a breaking point, but I was able to
Mm-hmm.
apply that strategy for quite some time. Then when that stopped working, I had to shift into coping. So that was definitely not healthy. I just made sure that I was always distracted. So I always had something to do. I was working and going to school. I had two jobs while going to school. Um,
I can relate.
yeah, every plan went up my go. No party, no everything, because I just did not want to be by myself to face that. So if
Mhm.
I'm not going somewhere, I have people coming to my room to visit me. Like I'm the one that is playing music for everybody, entertaining everybody. I just was always busy.
Always the happy one, but deep down, I'm saying I got you. And a lot of persons who struggle mentally does that. Like they always be the life of the party.
Yeah.
I myself can't relate. Being the life of the party, wanting everybody to laugh. But guess what? Deep down, yeah, I got you it.
Yeah, nobody knew. And I kept it that way. It was intentional. I wanted to get that vibe from it. Because remember at that time, the stigma about anything to do with mental health was way worse than it is now. And it's bad now. So you must know. But I didn't want anybody to see me in a negative light. So I made sure that they didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
As best as I could on my own. Wasn't really managing, but I had to distract myself. And I just kept doing that all the way through uni. All the way through. And it got really, really bad at a point. I was just like looking back, I'm like, how did I even graduate? I don't know how I get through that phase. It was just darkness, heaviness. Like I was just on autopilot. I don't know how I get through each day. I can't tell you anything that's happening any day. I was just going.
I was yes, I'll go. Yeah.
And I cannot tell you how I passed nothing. I can't tell you. Because there was so much going on at the time. And it was not easy for me at all. But I was determined that I go back to you. Like, I need to
Oh man.
made sure that I finished. And then I went full time into the marketing world.
Right. So like how long have you been a mental health advocate? And how did you get into that sphere?
I started in 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, 2011 is when I started. It started with I had a lifestyle blog, which that blog I started about maybe 2 years or 3 years before that. And I started it really just to have a place to practice my writing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself, well, if I just write and show it to my friends, they're my friends. They will tell me that it's good all the time. I want to, that is when blogging was really kind of starting to get popular. And I liked the idea of being able to put your work out publicly and anybody could read it. So I thought to myself, okay, well, this is great practice because these people don't necessarily know me at all. So if it sucks,
Okay.
say it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna start a blog. So I started a blog, it was a lifestyle blog, and I wrote about all kinds of different things until I realized that I needed to find a way, a healthier way to cope with the depression that would pop up from time to time. And I said, all right, well, I checked out therapy, too expensive, not gonna work. So I need to figure out a way to get it out. So I said, well, if I can't talk to a therapist, I should probably just like put it out there and start writing about it. So I wrote one post and just kind of explained that, throughout my time at UA, I've been going through this. I'm not quite there now, but I wouldn't say that I'm completely out of the woods either. And it was but it wasn't very long. It was just kind of me saying, all right, this is what I'm willing to share right now. I put it out there and the response was really overwhelming. A lot of people started to comment, a lot of people emailed me and were saying, them going through the same thing, but they never talking about it. And I was like, oh, so maybe I should do a mental health blog then because I have a lot to say on this topic. So
exactly.
I was going to shift my focus. And I shifted the focus, which it was a because as I said, a lot of stigma also comes with the fact that there are people reaching out and saying, doing it because you're helping us. And I would rather just ignore the naysayers and help the people who want the help like how I want the help.
Exactly.
As kind of a journal of what I'm going through and also what I'm learning at the time because I was determined to get over that phase. I was like, I cannot live on. I know what it is like to not be in this space. That is what I don't want to do. So I need to figure my way out of it. So what I did was I started to do research on ways to actually naturally get over depression, naturally
Nice.
get over anxiety, naturally get over, just any kind of mental health challenge. And I was reading a lot about it. I found it very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Found things and I tried them and they worked. So I would write all this on my blog post and say, guys, guess what? I tried this, it worked. I tried this, it didn't work. And that is something that I got a lot of good feedback on as well. So I just kept doing it over time. It was helping me and it was helping other people. So that gave me the push to go. And it continued to go by the following year. Following year, 2012, is when Jamhan and I got in touch. And I didn't become the director of communications right away, maybe like a few months later. But I decided to actually just kind of partner up with them because they realized that I am doing what they're doing.
Exactly. So you might as well, yeah.
That just started. So we're like, all right, maybe we can help each other out. And it wasn't a very, very structured organization yet. And then we structured it and they're like, no man, you have to be the communication director. Like this is your thing. This is you're in marketing, you're a writer,
Uh-huh.
what you do. Like so I took it on and then I realized that okay, that means I'm having to actually go talk at things. But like as each opportunity came,
So you grew with it.
I grew with it. I did it very nervously, very fearfully until I got
Yeah, man.
and not to say that I don't have the nerves and the anxiety same way.
Still, but not as much as it was before.
Public speaking, I find is a thing that is very nerve-wracking for me anyway. Like there's always a lot of anxiety. But
Mm-hmm.
where I can do it and the people out there don't know that I'm nervous. It's just me one though. So
I could share this with you, right? Like even going to you, I always fear doing presentations. Like listen to me. Like when a presentation time, I try to stand up in the back, and even though my dinner at the back, I still start sweating me. I don't know why. So like it basically starts with just getting over the fear gradually and just doing it. Because at the end of the day, like once you have the mindset, say, you know, I'm gonna have to do it, it just gradually improves as you go along. Because me used to go through it, man. Trust me.
yeah, I've definitely grown a lot. Putting myself out there like that and talking about such a sensitive topic and making myself vulnerable with it. I grew
Exactly.
so much as a result of doing that. So, and it opened a lot of doors for me that I didn't foresee happening. Go get down.
Attention seekers. I swear.
What is wrong? All right.
Okay.
Say hi.
Hello. Okay, I can't talk cat language, but meow. Yeah, but no man, and even you like even you stepping outside your comfort zone, like I'm sure it has helped a lot of persons along the way. So it's just you stepping into your purpose and doing what you were made to do, you know what I mean? And as you step into that purpose, it flows. Yeah.
When I started, I didn't think it had anything to do with my purpose. I wasn't even thinking about purpose at all. But the more
Mm-hmm.
I started, the more I recognized that I had a unique angle, I had a unique perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who personally go through it. Because at the time when I
Exactly.
blog, nobody could put a face to, to that. Nobody,
Yeah.
everybody was hiding based on the stigma. So I personal experience with it. Then it shifted to professional experience because of my experience with Jamhan. And on top of that, I also have the experience of dealing with persons within my family who have
Mm-hmm.
and people who I end up counseling as friends and through Jamhan. So I basically have a three-pronged view of it. So I developed a really deep understanding. On top of that, I was researching it all the time. So I started to just get a lot of calls to come and speak to people about
Mm-hmm.
my experience, about what they can do, different.
Experience teaches wisdom. Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
I have discuss mental health from pretty much every angle you could possibly think about. No, um, and has really opened some doors. I've had to represent Jamhan in government meetings, when they want to do certain things, they want to ask, like, how will this be received? What needs to be tweaked? That kind of thing.
Mhm.
That's not something that I could have imagined or foreseen when I started.
When you first started, exactly.
I
What?
would for that. But I am now at the point in my journey where I'm not so much focusing on the illness side of it. I'm focusing more now on the wellness side of it. How do you stay
Nice.
mentally? So that is the evolution, because I am not in that space now where I'm struggling and I'm trying to figure something out. And so I have pretty much gone through that phase, and now I'm at,
Mhm.
how do I maintain this balance? How do I help other people maintain this balance? So that's what's up right now. And yeah.
Thank you very, very much for sharing that. Like mental illness is definitely an issue that's not spoken about a lot, especially in Jamaican society. So for persons that might be going through similar situations that you have experienced in the past, what is one or two things you can probably impart on those persons as a means to work towards getting over or overcoming that issue of um just fear or whatever it is they might be going through mentally.
Can you rephrase the question for me? Just tell me it in a different way so I can make sure that I understand.
All right, so all right, so for persons that might be going through similar situations that you have experienced while going to you with breaking down mentally and just going through it and hiding it from the outside because because of that fear of what they're going through. What is one or two gems you can possibly impart on those persons?
All right. The first thing I would say is learn what your balance and what your normal looks and feels like, so that when you're not there, you catch it easily. Because
Okay.
a lot of the times things pile up and we don't deal with it, and we're slipping, and then when you drop off of the cliff, you're like, oh, we never realized that.
Mhm.
So if you start learning how to check in with yourself and what you being good looks like and what that feels like, then being able to monitor yourself is much easier. So
Okay.
very important. I would also recommend that you don't keep it to yourself.
Very
Uh,
important.
not easy to pull yourself out of a rut alone, especially if you're dealing with depression. And I consider depression to be the most dangerous of
It
the
is.
challenges.
It is.
Others have visible effects that people outside of you can see. But depression is something that if you don't want anybody to get that, they don't have to see it at all. And it is the one that creates the most fatalities in terms of people
Mhm.
like that. So it's very important to be able to share that with somebody, or have at least one person understand what you're going through.
I can relate. Exactly. Um, so one more thing for persons like if a family member or a loved one is going through something similar to that, what are some warning signs that those around you can look for to kind of highlight that, well, yeah, they might go through this and they might need some special attention or they might need somebody for reason and talk with. Like, what are some warning signs for persons that you look for?
Okay. That requires paying close attention to the person, and having an idea of what they are like when they're okay as well. Because oftentimes they're not going to initially tell you what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of be paying attention, and most likely you as the concerned person in their life would have to be the person who initiates.
Ask and cry. Yeah, exactly.
So the thing that really stands out is when the difference between mental health and mental illness is basically the same as physical health, physical illness, where it's a spectrum. So you can be great all the way over here, or you can be terrible all the way down here, or you can be somewhere in the middle. And it's the same way with mental health. So there are different things that you may experience that causes a little fracture in your mental health, but it doesn't necessarily have to become a mental illness. So things can affect your mental health, but you don't get to the point of having a condition. So you can lose your job, or you can be going through a bad breakup. You can be having problems with, co-parenting. You can be having financial trouble, grief, somebody that you love dearly could have passed suddenly, these things are things that affect the mental health. And that is normal. When it comes out of a phase where it is not so, where it becomes problematic, is usually for 2 to 3 weeks or more, it is sustained. Like nothing changes in the way that you're feeling. So you're getting progressively worse over time, as opposed to improvement. That is something to look for. So if you notice that they are going through these natural responses, yes. But you notice that time is passing and it's not changing, that is definitely that. And also, again, coming back to what is normal for the person or what is normal for you, you look at once it starts to affect your daily life and affect your daily activities, that is the biggest warning sign, I would say. So if it is that you used to, for example, sleep a lot and now
Yeah, sleep at all. Exactly.
is that you used to sleep very little and now all you want to do is sleep,
Something wrong.
changes in your eating habits as well. You can suddenly start eat a whole lot of junk food, or just start eat a lot more than you used to eat, or you
Tomorrow's you about stress eating. Stress eat is real. Yeah.
some people stress eat and some people stop eating when they're stressed. So you have to be paying attention to the person to kind of know them and know what is changing for them, and in the same way for you, like
So,
for you. So you would look at those things, but things like your eating habits, your sleeping habits, those are very telltale signs. Your if your mood is fluctuating a whole lot, or if it is very different from what it used to be, that is something that you would look at as well.
okay.
And also in the case of people who try to hide behind being the life of the party, somebody who was not the life of the party suddenly wants to be the life of the party all the time. That is a
Nice. So true.
uh,
So true.
so there are little that they can look
It has been observant for the most part, like observe changes in attitude.
for, because they may say things and they might even say it as a joke. And if you're not okay, you realize that it sounds funny, but you're like, wait, but that sounds very hopeless. Like, worried. It's as you say, it's definitely being very observant and going with your intuition. A lot of the times, if somebody come off like everything is great and you just feel like, no, there's something wrong.
It does not feel right. Yeah.
Trust that. Trust that. Reach out to them.
Um, Definitely appreciate you taking the time out to come and share. Before you do go, would you mind sharing how persons could possibly get in contact with you and the name and title, the title of your book, and how persons can actually get copies of such book?
All right. So I will go with the book first. So the book is called Hard Girl for Dead, Building Point Notes to Self. It's basically like an unconventional autobiography. So it is inspired by my life, but it is not written in chronological order.
Okay.
It's written like there are direct free-writing that come from my experiences, me processing certain things. Then there's like poetry that are inspired by some of these experiences. And then at the end, I have the notes to self where I am writing these love letters to myself to encourage myself and other people who are possibly going through the same thing. And that is more of a reflection of where I am now and what my current mindset is versus where I'm coming from. So it takes you all the way through the journey, but just in different ways. And I usually have them here and I sell them, but I don't have any right now. I'm getting some in soon. So right now it's on Kindle or on Amazon until
Okay. And it's a hard girl for that.
hard girl for the year.
Hard girl for that. All right.
So I'll send you a photo of it so that you can insert it.
Put it. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, when I get it, I normally just put it on social media so that people know that I have them and get them from them. So
Okay.
outside of that, Amazon, Kindle, anywhere you are in the world, you can access it there. And I'm looking to put it on some other websites that sell books as well. So as time goes by, I will continue to
We get there.
that. And how can people get help? Well, I mean, currently, I'm very happy to see that the Ministry of Health has implemented some mental health measures. They have a helpline and they have like a mini department that is dealing with mental health now, which is why they even renamed it to health and wellness. So
Nice.
we are definitely moving in a direction of actually caring more about it and starting to basically about it. Let me give you the number for the helpline. Every parish, the hospitals and the clinics have a mental health day. You really just need to what day of the week. You can call them and find out which day is the mental health day.
Available. Okay.
And get evaluation and get treatment if you need it. So there is that. And that is something that happens in every parish. The government is responsible for that. Of
That's
course,
definitely a plus.
there are private practitioners as well, but you know, if that is not accessible to you, then of course, you have that option. As I said, call the helpline and you can talk to someone for free. And then you have us as well, the Jamaica Mental Health Advocacy Network. We are on social media everywhere at AMAN_JA. You can DM us, tell us what you're going through, and we can connect you with people. We can point in a direction. We usually have OKJA mental health support group. It used to be in person, but since COVID, it is now virtual.
Virtual. Okay.
Happens twice a month. We're on a mini break right now, but we will be resuming soon. So you can DM us about that. Also, we have partnered with Think Mental Health JA, and we have also started a support group as a result of that collaboration. So, you know, there are a couple of pages that you can follow online to get free resources. I'll give you the links so that you can share them.
I'll put them in there. Okay. I'll put them in there. And it's definitely a great initiative because, like I said, a lot of persons go through things like these and they might not know how to get help, or they might not even feel like they need help. So like you guys going out there and spreading the word and actually sharing your own personal stories will definitely do a lot for people.
Yeah.
So definitely appreciate that for sure.
Your personal stories, I find that it's really helpful because a lot of people don't.
Shows you're not alone.
Yeah, people don't personally know somebody that they normally feel like it's just people on the road.
Or on TV.
Yeah.
Or on TV, yeah.
I feel like it's very far removed from them. But if we start to talk about it, we realize that there are so many people that you personally know who are going through it. And they're afraid of how they're going to look. So there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on.
Even currently, with the past year or so, with what's going on with COVID, like loss of jobs, loss of relationships, people dying, like there's so much that's going on and there's but so much your brain can take and hold before you explode. So it's needed.
You have to remember that for a lot of people going to school or going to work, that was their escape from a very toxic environment. So
Exactly.
won a lot.
No, you're forced to be home.
Forced to be home, and you can't, all of the things that you normally would do to free up your mind and get your mental health balance, you can't do it
And
because
stay busy. I'm saying, yeah, that's so true.
there's a whole lot of outlets that were also taken away from people. So
Mm-hmm.
made things a lot worse, definitely. Definitely made things a lot worse. So we saw a big increase in the number of people who were coming to support group meetings at COVID as well. So I can definitely attest to that. But what I will do, I will send you the numbers and the
Yes, and I'll put them in the video. Yes, in the video. So person can actually reach out who needs it.
or something, you can definitely, because there is help out there for people. There are resources that are available to them, but most of the time we just don't know.
If you don't know, yeah, exactly. If you don't know. All right.
I think these things, nobody can just come to you and say, "Oh, I don't check out things." So I see.
All right. Well, Tami, definitely appreciate you and keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing an awesome job, and you guys are definitely doing great for something that's needed. It's not even wanted; it's needed. In a broad spectrum. So, bless up yourself, and we definitely looking forward to hearing more great things and continue doing a great work. All right.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And
And
have a blessed one.
this Overcomaz podcast, it's needed as well because people
Thank
want
you very much for that.
to do things, So I
Yeah,
think
because at the end of the day, like it goes back to people understanding that guess what? Even though you got through something, there must be somebody else out there who have gone through a similar situation, and hearing those stories can help you to overcome whatever it is that you are going through. So that's the whole reason for this platform, to just help persons understand and say, well, guess what? If you got through it, somebody else probably got through it already, and this is how they basically overcame that situation. So definitely appreciate it for sure. All right. All right. Cool. Man. All right. Blessings.
yeah,
Yeah,